There is a strange silence hanging over Libya, a silence so heavy it feels like the air itself is holding its breath. For more than a decade, this nation has lived between the ruins of revolution and the illusion of peace. But now, something is shifting, something that could change the country forever. Because in the middle of all this chaos, one name begins to resurface, a name that carries both fear and nostalgia: Gaddafi. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, the son of Muammar Gaddafi, the man who once ruled Libya with an iron fist, is slowly stepping out of the shadows. But why now? Why does his name return precisely when Libya seems more divided than ever? According to an official statement published by the Libyan National Army, its commander, Khalifa Haftar, called on Libyans to take matters into their own hands through a peaceful and organized movement. But behind that call for peace, what is really being prepared? Could it be a hidden move toward another seizure of power? Haftar added that Libya needs a radical change in the political scene. Radical change, two words that have always preceded revolutions. But is this change the rebirth of a nation? Or the rebirth of an old regime? As reported by the Libya Observer, Haftar has recently intensified meetings with tribal leaders and local commanders, silent signals that a greater realignment may be underway. Meanwhile, online campaigns grow louder. Vote for Saif al-Islam Gaddafi. Change Libya for the better. For some, he is the long-awaited heir to stability. For others, he is the ghost of an era they never want to relive. But who truly benefits from his return? The people, the army, or foreign powers waiting behind the curtain? Libya stands once again on the edge of history, between the memory of dictatorship and the promise of renewal. And the real question is this the people's revolution or someone else's carefully planned comeback? For many outside observers, the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011 marked the end of an era. Yet, inside Libya, the Gaddafi name never truly disappeared. It lived quietly through loyalty, nostalgia, and the chaos that followed. As Reuters reported, tribes once allied with Muammar Gaddafi still hold influence across southern Libya, particularly in Fezzan. And it's within these regions that Saif al-Islam began rebuilding his image, far from the cameras, step by step. But what is driving this return now, more than a decade after his father's death? Is it justice, destiny, or simply revenge disguised as leadership? Haftar's recent statements about taking control through peaceful means may not be as innocent as they seem. Behind those words lies a strategy, one that could unite old loyalists, disillusioned citizens, and military elites under a single narrative: stability. But stability for whom? For the Libyan people, or for those seeking to reshape the nation in their own image? Reports from Al Jazeera reveal that internal negotiations between Haftar's forces and Gaddafi supporters have taken place since 2023, signaling a potential political alliance. Meanwhile, Western governments, especially Washington and the European Union, are watching closely but saying little. The silence from these powers is not neutrality, it's calculation. After all, Libya's vast oil reserves remain one of the largest in Africa. And as the BBC noted in an analysis, whoever controls Libya controls not just oil routes, but a key gateway between Africa and Europe. Could Saif al-Islam's rise be part of a deeper geopolitical game, one that extends beyond Libya's borders? Could his return serve as a bridge between tribal loyalty and global ambition? Or is he merely a symbol being used by others who understand that the Gaddafi name, even in ashes, still holds power? Libya has been broken for too long, torn between militias, foreign interests, and fragmented governments. Now, as the dust begins to settle, one question remains: is this the beginning of Libya's rebirth, or the quiet construction of a new empire rising from the ruins of the old? Every revolution leaves behind unfinished business. In Libya, that business is power. Since 2011, countless factions have fought to claim legitimacy, but none have succeeded in uniting the nation. And now, as Haftar strengthens his grip in the east and Saif al-Islam's presence grows in the south, the pieces begin to move again on Libya's political chessboard. But who is really making the first move? According to The Guardian, documents leaked from internal diplomatic briefings suggest that Haftar's inner circle has been in quiet communication with Russian intermediaries, the same ones who once supported Wagner operations in Libya. Moscow, it seems, hasn't lost interest in the country's oil fields or its strategic coastline. Meanwhile, France 24 revealed that Paris, despite publicly backing the UN-recognized government in Tripoli, has maintained channels of communication with Haftar's representatives since late 2022. It raises the question, are these powers preparing for the possibility of a new Gaddafi era, or simply hedging their bets? Saif al-Islam Gaddafi himself has avoided direct public appearances since his release, but his statements, when they surface, carry a tone that mixes nostalgia with calculation. In an interview cited by The New Arab, he declared that Libya must return to sovereignty and dignity, free from foreign control. But those words sound eerily familiar. They echo the very rhetoric his father used to justify decades of isolation and rule. Is this a coincidence? Or a deliberate revival of the old ideology, adapted to a new audience hungry for order? And here lies the paradox. The same Western nations that once celebrated Gaddafi's fall may soon find themselves negotiating with his son, not out of choice, but necessity. The migrant crisis, energy shortages, and regional instability have made Libya too valuable to ignore. Yet behind the diplomacy, there's a deeper question, one that defines the entire story. Is Saif al-Islam Gaddafi a puppet in someone else's strategy, or the last heir to a dynasty that refuses to die? The storm that is building in Libya isn't just political. It's historical, emotional, and deeply personal. Because when a name like Gaddafi returns, it doesn't just bring back a man. It brings back everything a nation tried to bury. Libya has always been more than a battlefield. It's a prize, a crossroads between Africa, Europe, and the Middle East, and a vault of untapped wealth beneath its sands. Gold, oil, and strategic positioning have turned the country into a silent obsession for global powers. According to Bloomberg, Libya possesses one of Africa's largest proven oil reserves, producing up to 1.2 million barrels per day when stable. But stability has been the rarest resource of all. Each foreign player, Washington, Paris, Moscow, Ankara, sees the Libyan crisis not as a tragedy, but as an opportunity. The question is, who will seize it first? Washington's involvement, as reported by the Wall Street Journal, has quietly shifted from open intervention to indirect influence. American intelligence officials are said to be monitoring Haftar's connections, while maintaining diplomatic pressure through energy corporations and security contracts. Yet the U.S. is not the only actor playing in the shadows. Le Monde highlighted how France, long accused of double-dealing, continues to support economic projects in Haftar-controlled areas while simultaneously claiming to back democracy in Tripoli. Hypocrisy or strategy? Meanwhile, Russia's re-emergence through Wagner-linked operatives, confirmed by Reuters, has created a new dimension to the struggle. The Kremlin understands that by securing influence in Libya, it gains leverage not only over African energy routes, but also over Europe's fragile dependence on Mediterranean oil. That's why Saif al-Islam's name has become so convenient, a face from the past that could unite the country without the need for direct invasion. But is Moscow supporting his return, or merely using it as leverage against the West? Turkey and Egypt, too, have their own stakes. Al-Monitor reports that Ankara's military agreements with the Tripoli-based government remain active, giving Turkey a foothold in North Africa, while Cairo backs Haftar as a buffer against instability spilling over its border. It's a geopolitical tug-of-war, and Libya is the rope being pulled from every side. In the middle of all this, the Libyan people remain spectators to their own fate. Each promise of peace hides a foreign signature. Each transition plan benefits someone thousands of kilometers away. And as the media tries to simplify the story into good versus evil, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Libya's future is being written not in Tripoli, not in Benghazi, but in the meeting rooms of Washington, Paris, and Moscow. So the question remains, will the next Libyan leader truly rise from the will of the people, or from the hands of those who never stopped pulling the strings? Libya now stands at a crossroads unlike any in its modern history. The fragile balance between tribal loyalties, military power, and foreign interests is more volatile than ever. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi's potential return is not merely a domestic story. It is a symbol of the unresolved conflicts that have haunted the nation for decades. As Al Jazeera reports, his supporters claim he represents unity and stability, yet critics warn that his rise could revive authoritarian structures long thought buried. The question is unavoidable. Can a country scarred by war ever trust a Gaddafi to lead without repeating the past? Haftar's maneuvers in the east and Saif al-Islam's gradual mobilization in the south reveal a subtle but deliberate orchestration. Behind closed doors, alliances are formed, old rivalries are reignited, and external powers calculate the risks and rewards of every move. The Libya Observer highlighted that tribal councils and former regime loyalists are quietly rallying support, signaling that the stage is being set for a major political shift. But what will be the tipping point? A military action, an election, or the silent agreement of those with the most to gain? Meanwhile, Europe and Washington are forced to reassess their positions. Libya's oil, its migration routes, and its strategic ports make inaction impossible. BBC analysts note that whoever controls Libya now wields influence far beyond its borders. Russia and Turkey, with their indirect military presence, have already ensured their stakes. France and the United States, balancing public diplomacy with private strategy, watch carefully, calculating which alliances will protect their interests most effectively. The Libyan people, however, remain uncertain. Their history of broken promises has taught them caution. Yet the whisper of change, whether genuine or manipulated, spreads across the nation. Every decision, every movement, every statement by Haftar or Saif al-Islam is scrutinized, weighed, and interpreted as a possible clue to the next chapter. So, as Libya faces what may be its most decisive moment since 2011, the ultimate question emerges. Will the nation finally reclaim its sovereignty, or will it once again become a pawn in a much larger game of global power? And as the dust of history settles, one thing is clear: the next leader will not just inherit a country. They will inherit the weight of decades of ambition, betrayal, and the enduring shadow of Gaddafi.